How's it going? I'm Andrew with Investors Hub, and it's Ted Tuesday again. Happy to have Ted back on the show, and we're going to be chatting about the cannabis industry like we always do. He's going to talk to us a little bit about what happened with the DEA. I asked him about the new DEA rules that just popped up, and he's also going to share his thoughts on how he evaluates cannabis companies and what happened to one of the companies in his model portfolio. Some really good news came out for Lexaria. So, yeah, if you like the show, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with somebody who wants to know a little bit more about cannabis investing. And let's hear from Ted. Please note that our videos are not designed to be direct investing advice. We're here to gather the perspective of different investors. Our channel and our content should just be one stop on the journey of trying to find out where to put your money. So we learned real recently that the DEA is expanding the number of growers who can grow marijuana for federal research. They're dramatically expanding the number, which is not really saying much because the number previously was one, and it was the University of Mississippi. So do you think that this is going to speed up the timeline to see federal movement on either deregulation or legalization? Or is it going to take too long for those research studies to come out?
Yeah, I don't think that the move is a practical one. I think it's more a political one. They'd been under heat for quite some time because they'd restricted the growers for their purposes, for research purposes, to just one operation. And so I think over time, and now I'm talking like 5 or 10 years, the research is going to yield interesting results for cannabis. But in the short run, I don't think it will have much impact at all.
So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your background because maybe some folks
Sure.
that are watching the show don't know too much about you. So talk to us a little bit why you decided to start investing in the cannabis industry and like why did you pick cannabis instead of some other sphere of investing?
Well, I spent a great career in the investment business. I was a financial analyst. I've been a portfolio manager. I've been a financial planner. I've done a whole bunch of things. And about 8 years ago, a friend of mine who was also a client of mine came to me and he said, "Look, Canada's going ahead with this legalization of cannabis, it looks like, and they're just coming out with the regulations or the draft of the regulations. I want you to have a look at it and tell me whether you think this is an interesting area." So I did that, and off he went and went into the business. And then I thought about it, and I thought, man, this is a great opportunity. So, I mean, basically, what I like about it is it's not a new business. We know the demand for the product is there. We know there are certain health benefits, although they haven't been proven to the extent that the FDA would like, with the exception of Epidiolex, which is GW Pharma's product. But so we have all these good things going for it. Plus, it's kind of a sexy story. And when I looked at it, there were a whole bunch of people in the industry that knew everything you wanted to know about cannabis and absolutely nothing about the financial markets. And I was sort of the opposite. I knew everything about the financial markets and very little about cannabis. So I just saw it as an opportunity to take an interest in the field. I thought the growth was going to be spectacular. And here I am.
So talk to us a little bit about how you evaluate a cannabis company. Like what makes a cannabis company stand out among its peers?
Well, there's two things that are really, really important to me. And if we don't have these two things, then I'm not interested. One is good management. And so for me, that's where it all begins. And so the companies that I've chosen and that we've talked about here, Andrew, on a regular occasion, companies like Chiron or Lexaria or 1933, they're all run by people that I have great confidence in their management ability, and I think they can get the job done. And the second thing that's important is they have to have a sensible business plan. It has to be a business plan at this point that um, leads to revenue in the short term. And so right now, those are the two things. They may change from time to time. And, I'm influenced by things like I think the US operators are better than the Canadian operators right now. I like the international companies. You may like hemp over cannabis at one point. But the two fundamentals are good people with a good idea.
So, are there any qualities in a cannabis company that makes it stand out versus positive qualities in a non-cannabis company? Because non-cannabis companies also benefit from having good ideas and good leadership.
Sure. Um, I don't think so. I mean, they tend to fall into the same category. Just because you've got a company interested in cannabis, another company might be interested in gold, another company might be interested in technology. So those are the factors. Right now, a key factor in cannabis is the company has to have a source of capital other than the financial markets. And so, you know, companies have to be either self-funding or very close to self-funding. And so I like to find companies that are a little bit in the earlier stage because I think the growth prospects are better. But in any event, those are some of the factors that I take into account.
So, are there any interesting new developments that you'd like to share with us about the companies in your model portfolio?
Well, sure. And it's a company that we've talked about fairly regularly, but the things that we were talking about are starting to happen. And that's Lexaria Bioscience. 2 weeks ago, the company made an announcement from the test results from one of its announced programs. The results were very good. Lexaria, to remind you, has a technology that increases the delivery of what's called an API, an active pharmaceutical ingredient, into the bloodstream. So if that's CBD, great. If that's nicotine, great. Can be anything like that. And so what they announced was their test showed that their technology resulted in a 10 to 20 times increase in the amount of CBD delivered into the bloodstream. The stock that day, and I think we talked about this before, traded 48 million shares on the NASDAQ exchange. Now, NASDAQ double counts. So let's say that's 24 million shares. This is a company with 5 million shares outstanding. And if you take out what management and the insiders own, there's a float of like 3.5 million shares. And so this 3.5 million share company traded 24 million shares, let's call it, on the basis of this news report. And the company added like 50% to its value that first day. And then since then, it's come back as they always seem to. But they're still kind of 25 or 30% ahead of where they were. And they've got 2 or 3 more of these coming over the summer and into the fall. And so, I just get more excited about Lexaria the more I look at it, the more I talk to people, and the more I look into it. They're working on hypertension right now, which is high blood pressure, which is an industry that if you could make a breakthrough and get say a cannabis, a CBD based product in there that lowered people's blood pressure, I mean, the sky's the limit. So they have those sorts of activities coming, and it's just one that I've been looking at a lot lately, and I'm really excited about. LEXX on NASDAQ.
So, do you think that LEXX is aiming to be an acquisition target by a larger, drug manufacturer, or do you think that they're going to remain independent and be a standalone?
Well, they've done something very clever, which they did from day one or day two. Um, they have this technology called dehydrotech, and it works on oil soluble active pharmaceutical ingredients. And so it works on nicotine, it works on CBD, it works on THC, and a range of other chemicals or ingredients. And so they've set up individual subsidiaries. So they have a nicotine subsidiary and they have a CBD subsidiary. And so any company that deals with them for their technology deals with one of these subsidiaries. And so the company itself, I think, will survive for a long time. But these individual subsidiaries may end up selling the interest for, say, smokeless tobacco or something like that to deliver nicotine, or CBD in beverages, which they're in the process of doing. And so there are all kinds of opportunities. But I expect that LEXX itself will survive.
Any final thoughts?
No, the markets have been a little bit in a corrective mode. The cannabis stock since about February, and it's involved both sides of the border. The Canadian licensed producers have been correcting, and so have the multi-state operators in the U.S. I think that's all coming to an end now, so we may have a good few months ahead of us.
Do you have any positions in the companies mentioned?
No, I don't.
Hey, thanks for watching. And if you like the show, like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube stuff, follow us on Twitter, iHub_vision, and I'll see you again soon.